legacy of human trafficking. Think about it, perhaps today. The story of Jeffrey Epstein remains one of the darkest open secrets in recent American history. A man with deep ties to billionaires, presidents, and royalty. Epstein was a convicted sex offender accused of operating a global human trafficking ring involving underage girls. And yet, years after his suspicious death in a high security prison, the public has seen little to no accountability for the powerful individuals linked to his crimes. Even more suspicious, the so called Epstein files, records, testimonies, and client lists allegedly containing the names of elites involved have effectively vanished from public view. Despite promises of transparency, little has been revealed. The silence is deafening. This deliberate absence speaks volumes in a country obsessed with data, surveillance, and investigations. The idea that such files could be lost, hidden, or buried is just not implausible, it's insulting. It signals a protection of power at the expense of justice. When everyday citizens are monitored with pinpoint precision, how is it that billionaires and politicians associated with Epstein remain shielded by institutional amnesia? To understand the silence around the Epstein files, one must confront a deeper, more uncomfortable truth. America's complicity in human trafficking isn't new. It's foundational. It's as American as apple pie. From its earliest days, the United States was built on systems of exploitation, most infamously the transatlantic slave trade. Millions of African men, women, and children were trafficked, bought, sold, and brutalized for profit. This wasn't fringe criminal activity. It was the economic engine of the colonies and later the young republic. Slavery was legal, normalized, and embedded in American law and culture. Even after the abolition of slavery, forms of human trafficking continued. Sharecropping, prison labor, and Jim Crow era forced labor being just a few. Today, the U.S. remains a major hub for modern human trafficking, particularly in the sex trade and exploitive labor practices. According to the State Department, tens of thousands of people are trafficked into the U.S. every year. Many more are trafficked within the country's own borders. Runaway youth, undocumented migrants, and impoverished communities are especially vulnerable. Jeffrey Epstein's crimes didn't exist in a vacuum. They were enabled by a system where power and privilege protect predators. His case is a mirror held up to a nation that often speaks of freedom but continues to tolerate modern slavery in its shadows. And when evidence disappears, victims are silenced and the powerful go unpunished. The message is clear. America still hasn't reckoned with its trafficking past and present. The absence of the Epstein files is not just a legal failure, it is a moral indictment. If the truth about who was involved is too dangerous to disclose, then what does that say about our institutions, about our media, about our democracy? America doesn't just have a human trafficking problem, it has a truth problem. And until that changes, justice will remain a privilege for the powerful and a fantasy for the exploited. Now, before I leave, I want to just leave two thoughts for you to think about. Because again, truth has to become the core topic, it has to become what is most important in this entire episode. So, can we review how Epstein made his money. Who was he banking with? And why haven't there been any criminal charges against who was laundering his money? And when we talk about human trafficking, we already know billions of dollars built banks and institutions, financial and educational institutions off the backs of, of people who were trafficked. So, one, who was he banking with? Two, I think it's foolhardy, silly, and almost blatantly disrespectful to think that Attorney General Pam Bondi is the person not allowing the files to be released. This has to be a directive from President Trump. And if he himself is committed to truth, like so many of you who voted for him said he was, then stop this sham of a cover up and let's see real convictions come to those who aided, abetted, and most importantly, participated in these crimes. Now, just recently today, Trump released a silly quote. I won't read it. I want you to go and read this tweet that he put out on X about how perfect his administration is and how famous they are. Just read it. It's foolhardily done and saying, why are we still talking about Epstein? Probably because, again, we're dealing with the lone gunman theory. Whenever something major happens, there's always one person and one person only that is guilty and dies some strange death. Now, we know Ghislaine Maxwell is still in prison. Haven't heard anything about that, but Epstein is dead under some pretenses that it was a suicide, supposedly. The second time he tried to commit suicide on suicide watch in a prison with 24-hour surveillance. So again, if President Trump is committed to truth, quit letting Attorney General Bondi be raked over the coals by the MAGA right, saying she should be fired, and Trump should have the directive be those files be released. We are not going to stop until we get to the bottom of this. If this isn't the case, then all of this is just to laugh in our face. But I want you to understand human trafficking is as American as apple pie. Come quickly, Lord, perhaps today.